Um, Hello everyone. I think I'm being live streamed on YouTube right now. So hello everyone. I think I'm being live streamed on YouTube right now. So hello everyone. I think I'm being live streamed on YouTube right now. So hello everyone. I think I'm being live streamed on YouTube right now. So apologies if there's anyone watching this. A bit of technicality. I'm just trying to see what's going on. I think on YouTube right now. So apologies if there's anyone watching this. A bit of technicality. I'm just trying to see what's going on. I think on YouTube right now. So apologies if there's anyone watching this. A bit of technicality. I'm just trying to see what's going on. I think apologies if there's anyone watching this. Okay, yeah, three. A bit of I'm just trying to see what's going on. I think something is going on. I don't know what that is. Something is just let me see what's happening. Something is going on. I don't know what that is. Something is just let me see what's happening. Okay, so while I'm trying to get all of this sorted, let me just say that today the conversation is going to be on something is going on. I don't know what that is. Something is just let me see what's happening. Okay, so while I'm trying to get all of this sorted, let me just say that today the conversation is going to be on something is going on. I don't know what that is. Something is just let me see what's happening. Okay, so while I'm trying to get all of this sorted, let me just say that today the conversation is going to be on something is going on. See what's happening. You know, this is a problem for me when it comes to technology. Good evening, everyone. I'm actually watching you on my phone. Okay, I think that's where the other noise is coming. When people say there's an echo, I'm actually watching this on my phone, but on my computer, I can't see the Zoom anymore. That's what I'm trying to go back to. I'm just not getting it. Good evening, Adugo, in life, no limits. Good evening to you. Yes, I think the other thing that you were hearing was my I think my phone, so it was getting back in there. The problem I'm having right now is how to go back to my Zoom on my laptop. So initially what I did, when you go in, you want to now do live stream on YouTube, it takes you off temporarily and then you come back again. It's that coming back again that it's my problem. You can see me, but I can't see my Zoom to go back to my Zoom again. It's really, oh Lord have mercy when it comes to technology. And I used to do I have spent like almost like 2 hours just trying to set this thing up again, something I could do so flawlessly before before my channel was taken down and all of that. So I'm going to send in, I'm also trying to get back to my Zoom. As soon as I get that sorted, I'm going to put the link here, which I've already done on this thing for people to register and be able to join in. But I'm just trying to go back to that. Where is it? It's right here. I don't know what's going. It's telling me you will have to leave this meeting to join the new meeting. No, I don't want to leave this meeting. I want to go back to that meeting. But I can't see that meeting. Which can Wahala be this one now? But just to say, how far with everybody? Did you see what happened in Liberia, the election that took place in Liberia? Now, the incumbent was defeated. I think he has even conceded. He has congratulated the winner. Election democracy, the beauty about democracy is people being able to use their voices and then use their voting power. So whatever it is that they want, let it be that way. Let it be allowed. Let it not be a situation whereby somebody is controlling something. And that's what the conversation for today is supposed to all be about. It's not about someone just saying, oh, okay, they own the electoral body, and so they will decide that results cannot be uploaded. Results were uploaded. People could see it real time. As the results are coming in, this is it. Whoever it is that wins, no problem. When it's the choice of the people move on. You continue with governance, because the thing is that whether good or bad choices, you must allow people that opportunity for them to own their voices. You must allow people. Thank you so much. I realized what the echo was. I'm on mark. In life, no limits. I'm on mark. Honestly, and I'm just looking at this and I just can't get back to where I was. This is something I could just do effortlessly some time back. But now it's just crazy. But I'm going to find that my way. Please, if you know what I'm supposed to do, let me just put it in there. The echo I realized was coming from the fact that my phone was loud, so I've put my phone on silent. I've reduced the volume, so that's why you can't hear that echo anymore. My big problem here now is, how do I get back to my Zoom? I think I'll have to call my daughter to come and help me here. So guys, just hold on a bit. Aliyah, could you please come and help me with something? They say African mom. We are pulling the African mom card. My camera is on live. Okay, your hijab or whatever. I did this Zoom thing where they told me to stream live, and I've come back and I can't find my Zoom. The Zoom that I'm supposed to be on, I can't see it. Oh Lord, What was I supposed to do?
No, just like go like that, and then it will change like the times.
Oh, so like, yeah, I'm supposed to just be moving. Oh, I should have been moving. Yeah, thank you. Love you. Oh my goodness, this is so crazy. Everybody, it's sorted. One person, good make person push you. Good at all. My daughter just came and she was just like, flip. Apparently, I was supposed to flip on my mark and go back and forth and everything. So thank you so much. Thank God that got sorted. I'm always calling them when I have issue of technology. So for those who are asking for the Zoom, let me see, is this the one? Let me go get that. I'm going to put that on. I'm trying to do that right now. So what you need to do, you need to please just kindly register. You see the Zoom link there. All you need to do is to register. I hope I'm able to do this here. Yeah, fantastic. Did it not go? Wait a minute. Don't tell me I'm unable to. So please bear with me. You know, when they talk about no bad weather, only bad clothing, this is one of the things that they mean, because I don't just know why today everything is just going upside down. But if you check on my YouTube, if you check that thing, what do they call it? Post. I actually posted it just a few minutes ago. What you need to do, you actually do need to register before you come. Those are some of the measures I have put. For those of you who maybe we've been doing this live with Aisha together, I think the last one I did was either in June or July, before my my YouTube page was taken down. You know, this particular YouTube page was taken down for like about 2 or 3 months. It's in August. Was it in August that or September that I got this back? October, November, right? This is November. I think I got it back in September. So what had happened, we were doing a live program like this, and then we had hackers come in. I gave someone was supposed to share. Some people who were doing a program, they were supposed to share. I gave them access to share, and then the hackers just took over and they just started sharing porn. It was crazy. So we had to close everything down, got it back. But apparently, maybe what now happened, they now mass reported my YouTube channel, and it was taken down. Crazy. Before them, of course, you know, our normal people now, they were talking about the YouTube channel, all sorts of things. And then, you know, there's this, when the EU report came on Nigerian election, there was so much talk about about my channel and the role that my channel had played. So a lot of things were actually are going on all over there. So this time I'm just trying to be a bit more careful. So at least let people register first before you come in. If you register once, subsequently you just be joining it, because I've just tried to make it one link that will just be using, but there won't be any sharing. I will monitor, and it will really be lovely. Please, I don't want to have this conversation alone on my own. I want us to have this conversation together. So please just head over and check my post. You will see that there. You will see this thing that I've put in. So what I'm also trying to do now is to see if I can. I tried to post it on my this thing. It just didn't go. So I'm trying to do this now. Let me see. Yeah. See that there. You will see. Okay, sorry. So I'm trying to remove the volume from here. So help me check if that had gone in. The last time I tried to post it from my other phone, it didn't go, but I'm trying to now take it from here and just put it out there. So you could just register, join, let's have this conversation. Good evening. Wow, it's not good. Oh, okay. I realize what is happening. It's telling me that the words I use are too many. Register. Let me start from. Oh yeah, I realized what the problem was in the other time. The words are too many. Oh yeah. Just bear with me a little bit. We're almost there. Yes. Yeah. So you can see it there. For those who want to, you can join. Yeah. I now realize that the reason why we couldn't join, I couldn't post it earlier with the words were too many. State capture. What we're experiencing in Nigeria today, it's more or less a state. It's not even more or less, it's a state capture. Institutions have been captured by a few people for their own selfish end and not for the greater good. And so they tend to do whatever it is that they want to do with that power. And most times you find that the power sort of like favors some people in a disproportionate manner, where some people are gaining undue advantage that they are not supposed to get, where some people are the ones who are controlling everything. You see what has happened in the last 3 elections that we did, Kogi, Imo, and Bayelsa, the kind of things that happened where results were coming out. You could see clearly that INEC is compromised. Results were out before even elections started. Some places that there were totally no elections that took place in those places, but yet the results were announced in those places. You see where people are talking about figures that were changed. You see some places, and this was more common in Bayelsa State, where, of course, the dynamics of Bayelsa, you look at the Bayelsa State, it's not APC that is in control, so probably they didn't have the access to be able to control INEC and the security agencies. So a lot of things that we're seeing in Bayelsa State was actually vote buying, where they were paying people to buy their votes. Some votes, some people got as much as 40,000. There was a time it was 15, 20, and then they increased it to 30, 40. You could literally see people who were jubilating over the fact that they were selling their votes, that they were going for the next 4 years. So that's 10,000 naira per every year. One of the things with all of this thing is that most of these people who end up selling their votes will come to other people to carry their problems for the next 4 years. And then other people become stopgap for them for what government should have been doing. And I saw one, the Labour, where it was reported, one of the news reports, the Labour Party gubernatorial candidate of Bayelsa State actually saying that there's a lady who sold her vote for, was it 15,000 or 14,000, something like that he sponsors one of her children, has a scholarship that he gives to that person. Yet when he came to election, she sold it to someone else to get that. So these are some of the things. Please do try as much as you can. So the conversation that we're having today. So for John, please, if you go to my Twitter handle, you will see whatever response that it's there. For those who can join, do try and join, and I'll try and see if there's anyone in the waiting room, anyone who has registered, who is coming in. It really would be nice to have that conversation with a whole lot more people, because having one-off conversation, it's really not, it's not the best, so that we will really take this whole topic on. So let's look at the issue of state capture, right? So state capture, according to Wikipedia, is that it's a type of systemic political corruption in which private interests significantly influence a state's decision-making process toward their own advantage. When you have people who now influence, they are the ones in control of the state, and so that it favors them. Practically what we're having in Nigeria now today, it seems as if some people have captured INEC in their own favor for them to be able to manipulate results, for them electoral results and all of that. It seems as if some people have captured the security agencies for them to be able to use in terms of rigging of election. You saw when, I think it was in Imo State, where civilians actually caught a police officer and were the ones who now handed him over to police because he was caught trying to, I think, snatch ballot box or something of that nature. So we see a lot of these things going on. The term state capture was first used by the World Bank around the year 2000 to describe the situation in certain Central Asian countries making the transition from Soviet communism. Specifically, it was applied to situations where small corrupt groups use their influence over government officials to appropriate government decision-making in order to strengthen their own economic positions. These groups' members would later become known as oligarchs. So in terms of, our own has even gone beyond that, because what we have is that these group members are not just, they are no longer just interested in just waiting by the side for, how do I put it now? For government to make the decision on their behalf, but they are right now taking over the situation, as in taking over the government itself. So instead of waiting by the side for decisions to be made out of favor, that they are coming in, taking over the government, being in government, being in this position, and being the ones taking over the whole government itself, the leadership of our country. And it's really something that a lot of people have been worried about. There are people who have been saying, is democracy going to work? There's no need to even participate in any democratic process. There are people who are saying 2027, forget about it. Any other election, forget about it. So that's basically what we are here to discuss, to say, what is democracy possible with state capture? So with what we see now, and looking the way it is, because they say perception is everything, right? And the perception you have of INEC now, that a lot of Nigerians have of INEC, is that INEC is not to be trusted. INEC has been compromised. INEC has been taken over. So with that kind of a situation, is democracy possible? Is it any reason why people should, continue to say they are going to vote or go and register to vote, any of those things? Issues of security agencies also being captured brings forth the question of why would somebody even bother to go and vote? If you say yes, it's your duty to vote, but it's also your duty to be alive, right? It's also your duty to make sure that you safeguard yourself. Self-preservation is is first on key in everything that you're doing. Everybody, you must be able to preserve your own self. You must be able to be safe and secure. So when we talk about the fact that it's a duty for one to go and vote, we also have to remember the fact that it's a duty for one to protect one's life. And situation now whereby you have violence being a tool that is used against people who come out to vote, that in itself, it's a really serious and major reason. I see someone who said he cannot register. Is there something that it was saying it's not allowed you to come in? Oh, wow. Or maybe you need to register much later. How do I no. It's saying, oh, I wish this is sorted. Please don't give up. Just keep trying whatever it is that needs to be done. And let's see how it goes. I just checked my email now, whether there's any notification. None. I'm not seeing anyone who has joined me either, because there is still going to be a waiting room. Or should I not have put the registration? But I just need something. I just need something that sort of like safeguard, so that you don't have hackers who just come in. If somebody has registered, if you hack, at least they say, we'll be able to say, okay, this is the person, not the one before. What we had before was that they were just open links. You just create the link. If you just click on it, you come in. Yes, somebody is coming in. I think, okay. Okay. So let's see how it goes. Please do try to register. If you're not able to register before, try again and register. Definitely, we're going to get that coming in. So let's see how many people are able to come in and who are the people who are able to do that. And that will sort of like help. So there's a question here that there's something someone is saying. In life, no limit says, we need to ask ourselves a serious question. What will be the point of voting in 2027 with INEC as the umpire? Pointless to me. The only option is to have a revolution, and Nigerians are too passive. So this is the thing. Like even a few days ago, I had a conversation with someone when people keep saying, oh, the only option is to have a revolution. So first of all, the 2020... Hello, Sid Chu. Can you hear me? Let me. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Welcome to Live with Aisha. We're having discussion on democracy and state capture. To be able to say, before I go on air, so sorry to say this, that's why they say in life, don't ever make assumption. So when I saw your name, I was like, what kind of a name is that? Because this name is it's mainly Nigeria. I'm like, is that like a Chinese name or something? I'm like, is it the hackers? Because I'm really scared now because this thing was hacked the last time.
Sorry. That's
Let me go on. But is that your name?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's short form for my name.
Oh, short form of your name. You see, I almost at one time my mind was like, don't even admit this, but but it's wrong. I have to admit anybody that comes in, since that's the thing.
That's
so
fine. It took a leap of faith, I understand, yeah.
Oh, okay, fantastic. So let me just give you a question here that someone has, and I think it talks about the whole thing that we want to discuss today. It says, we need to ask ourselves a serious question. What will be the point of voting in 2027 with INEC as the umpire? And then pointless to me, that's what the person is saying. The only option is to have a revolution, and Nigerians are too passive. So what's your take on that?
I understand thanks for the question and what you do. I understand the whole sentiment with regards to our empathy to elections at this time because of what has transpired, the Imo elections, Kogi, and it's as if we're running a one-party state. But like I said, we need to start dealing with the source. The source is INEC, the source is the Senate and the House of Rep. We have to put pressure on advocacy because as it stands now, the INEC, the way it's constituted and how it is being put in place does not give us any form of confidence that the 2027 elections or any by-elections or off-site elections will be conducted correctly. It will not. And then if you understand the modus operandi of the Mr. Tinubu, who is in charge now, he's slowly, gradually using instrument of state for state capture and create a one-party system across, whether it's the north, whether it's the south. And that is dangerous grounds. So I think it's important that, for me, solutions will be, there must be mounting advocacy and pressure on the Senate to really deal with the electoral laws. Now, the outcomes of the presidential tribunal, state tribunals has created a lot of conflagrations. You know, there's a lot of problems, and so we need to look at that and say, okay, let's push it back into the Senate and say, okay, those issues, can we start making sure that the Senate creates ironclad systems so that INEC as an institution, not the individual, as an institution, you can start putting them in check. I know it's difficult because we are facing a behemoth, the APC, but that is the only route for Nigerians to put pressure in the next 4 years on affecting the electoral laws, and also pressure on INEC recs that are taken, because now look at most of the INEC recs that were taken recently for APC. So it tells us the playbook is already in motion. So I think that's what we need to do. So, and put pressure against the instrumentality of states, because what happened in the Imo elections, especially 540,000, that is completely, I mean, this open, the robbery levels, they are giving us results even before basically telling us Beavers is useless. We have wasted our money, time, and energy creating Beavers, and that is very sad. So I know there's apathy to the elections, but the only way the citizen has to really rise now is to put pressure on the Senate to begin to affect the source, INEC. If not, I don't think we have a headway in 2027 or any offside elections. That's my honest take.
Thank you so much for that. And I love what you put out, that we really need to focus on advocacy and pressure, especially to get the electoral laws to be changed. One of the things, of course, is that the people who are there are the people who are beneficiaries of the current electoral laws. And you'll be like, would they be willing to change this thing? And of course, if it goes to the Chief Tinubu, who currently is occupying the office of the president, as far as I'm concerned, he's an imposter. He rigged his way into office, can never be my president, will never be my president. But with the whole weird and illegitimate system we have now, it has to be taken there. Yes, the law does allow the National Assembly to be able to use its two-thirds power. Do you think we have the right kind of civil society mindset and also the National Assembly to be able to do this? Or will citizens have to really now put on, like you said, that pressure? Citizens have to do it on their own?
From my own point of view, I don't think, I think the civil society is compromised personally. And so the onus is now on the citizen. You know, just taking a cue of what the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party said, is the citizens. They've done their journey, everybody, but the citizens must rise above the civil societies, because civil societies, I feel not all of them, but most of them are compromised. You get me? They take funding. Where do they get their funding? Where are they getting their funding to keep going on? So that gives them, puts them in a vulnerable place where they get compromised. So it's important that the Nigerians begin to say, you know what? We need to mount pressure. We need to mount pressure on our senators, on our House of Assembly members, to begin to create advocacy. So it boils down to not only mounting pressure by just standing with placards, but going to our through our party system. So, for instance, if I would project, okay, the Labour Party that wants to be opposition, there must be re-engineering of the Labour Party so that the obedience will move into a party structure and really begin to influence their House of Rep and senators and say, look, we are a massive bloc here. We are the opposition bloc here. And as opposition bloc here, we are advocating that you press these demands, ensure that it is mandatory. They've told us that beavers is not mandatory. We need to ensure that the wordings are shifted. If there's no clear-cut agenda for legislative shift, then it's just business as usual. So advocacy, yes, there's pressure from social media, but there are things that can start being done so that in the next 2 years, because to create reforms, electoral reforms, we have seen it from this government and the past government, that it takes time.
Yeah.
You get me? They don't like to do it except when it doesn't. So we must put that pressure to see that at least our electoral laws are changed. If not, there's really no hope.
Thank you so much for just putting it that way. And I totally agree with all that you're saying. So thank you. Emmanuel, we have Emmanuel Olusegun. The conversation we're having is about democracy, about state capture. Do we have a country where we can say that if people go on to participate in the election, that indeed that their votes will count? Those are the conversations that we are having right now. There are people that have been calling for revolution. They feel that, oh, it's not necessary to go to the elections again. Let there be the revolution and all of that. So, Emmanuel, what are your thoughts on all of this? You are muted.
Thank you very much, Auntie Aisha.
Well done.
I don't know if you can hear me.
We can hear you. I'm just trying to get your listen and bring you into focus. Well, we can hear you.
I don't know if you can hear me. Is it okay now? Is it better now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm joining in from Canada, and I've always been a very strong supporter of what we've been doing. And I think the first thing I need to do is to thank you, and please don't relent on it.
Thank you.
I think the speaker have spoken very well. I took my time to listen to him. It's unfortunate that we are in this situation, but we have to start calling for advocacy, and we have to start, just like you said, a process where we can actually make the legislators to start, putting clarity into these whole beaver issues, because it's going to be business as usual, whereby they will keep imposing. It's so disgraceful what happened in Imo, what just happened in Kano, and obviously that's going to be the new trend now, because they are just going to capture the whole state and they are going to shut the people up, whereby we will have no choice but to start thinking of revolution. So in order not to get to that level where the people are pushed to the wall and they have to fight back, I think we have to start advocating for clarity in our legislation, whereby we can actually have clarity that beavers must be used and it must be transmitted at the spot. for everybody to see. It's a very straightforward math. It's very, very easy. I don't know why, if not because someone wants to steal, why they cannot do that. And if they're not doing that, we just have to make them do that. So I sincerely want to say thank you. And I so much support what the first speaker said. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for your kind words, and also thank you for your submission. Really great points you made there. Just to briefly talk about revolution. When people talk about revolution, there's always this good feeling that people have that, oh, if we do this, it's going to solve our problem. If we do this. Most times, if you look at the histories of revolutions, there are hardly there are very few violent revolution or bloody revolution that actually led to lasting changes. It's always the one that looks as if is the one that it's not working. Bloodless revolution are always the best way to go. And 2023 election was actually a revolution, right from everything leading up to it. It was people standing up and saying, look, we want to change the system. We don't need to go the way where we are going to shed blood. There are people who feel that, oh, in terms of them looking at Nigerians as being passive, their own thinking is that, oh, you just allow things to be done. You're not carrying arms. You're not doing this thing. Evil cannot be solved with evil, because there are certain things that if you do, you become like the people that you're fighting. I've seen a lot of people who have said that, oh, you know, this election, you could have done this way, you could have behaved this way, you could have had this, you could have had this kind of talks. Then you do all of those, then you're not better than the people that you're trying to replace, and you're going to do worse, because the moment it takes, it continues to take you down that place. It might look as if it's hard, right? But definitely just focusing on doing the right thing, focusing on changing those systems, no matter how hard they are, it's what gets it done. A revolution comes with that mentality where people feel, we can just do this now and everything is over. But it's always never like that. If you do that bloody revolution right now, who are the people that you're going to put in the leadership position? You find a lot of places where people have actually gone on to do revolution, but they didn't think through. In anything that happens, you have to start with the end in mind. The end in mind, what is it that you're looking for? We want good leaders in places. Right now, do we have those good leaders? Do we have somebody that can be president? Okay, fine, you said we have someone that can be, that won the 2023 election, that we know can be president, that can do the right thing for the nation. Do we have those governors that can also do the same thing? You can say, okay, there's one, Alex Oti doing this. How many others do we have? Do we have this? Do we have that? These are some of the things that need to be put in place so that if anything, by the time you're done, you're able to have people that you put on in there. But if you don't, I just feel like, oh, let's get on the streets, let's do this, let's do that. And I've seen a lot of people, you know, who have been calling out Nigeria. But the thing is that right from the day that they started announcing results, people were on the streets. People were demonstrating. Even right to when the Supreme Court judgment, people were on the streets. How many joined them? You see people who don't join. There are people who, from all of those protests, they were there. But most times you find people who actually don't join, who actually don't go. We say to you, oh, we are waiting for this because you're waiting for certain whatever to be there. The revolution that will happen, I've said this before and I'm going to say it again here. Nobody is going to call for it. Nobody is going to say to Nigerians, oh, come and do revolution. Oh, we are coming out on so day. Oh, we are going to wear this color of cloth. Oh, we are going to produce banners. No. When that will come, everybody will jump on the streets on their own. You look right, you say, bros, you there here? You serve, sis, you serve there here. That's the way. That kind of thing. And it can happen sooner than later. Many people never expected NSAS protest to happen. Even myself here, I remember on the 1st of October 2020, I was berating Nigerians. I was like, because there was a protest that was that day. Many people didn't turn up. There were like less than 100 people that came. And I was like, this is Nigeria. They would do 10,000 retweets online, but they will never come out to protest. 7 days later, Nigerians were on the street. So anything can happen. But before everything, there's no one solution to something. There are different ways of finding solution. Why that? If it's revolution, whatever it is, it happens. But before then, can there be other ways that, and I think those are some of the things that had just been put out. Can there be other ways that can be used? In the meantime, why that revolution will happen when it will happen, let's find the other things that can be done to ensure that we get that good governance that we are looking for. Giving up can never be an option, because the moment we give up, we self-defeat. The generation, my generation and the generation before mine, they always fought and they got to a place and they got tired and they moved on. Decades later, the generation that they gave birth to are telling them that they never did anything. And that's the same place where this generation is at right now. You are getting to that place. And if you give up and say, oh, we're not going to do anything because this and that, I can assure you that in the next 20, 30, 40 years, some other generation will be looking at you and telling you that you did nothing. Then you'll be like, did you see what happened in SARS? Did you see what happened to an obedient movement? Did you see this, did this? They was like, they can't say it because the result is not there. So that giving up, too many generations have given up before. This is not the time for us to give up. This is the time for us. Let's find different processes. Fine. Yes, revolution is the answer. So yeah, that's one of the answers. It can't be the only answer. What's the next one that needs to be done? And I think at this moment, I will call on Adugo Christian to give us what is that next thing that we need to. Adugo, if you are able to start your video, that will also be... that would be lovely.
Hi, Aisha. Can you hear me?
Hi. Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Okay. I want to start by thanking you first and all the entire obedience movement. Unfortunately for me, when the movement started, that was when I was leaving Nigeria after being frustrated as a young doctor who have so much vision for the country, Nigeria. But I was not seen forthcoming. So I had to leave to go for greener pasture, settle myself and the family, and possibly fight back, come back to the country, definitely. I've been following the movement, and of course, definitely a few of us came together. We threw some support, doctors in UK. I'm sure you're aware of that.
Yeah.
We threw some support during the campaign as well. And we know it has not ended. Of course, definitely. The fight for a change for a nation will not just come at once. Even though what we achieved in that February 23 election was not really, I know we were expecting more than what we saw, but we have to be grateful to God to the extent the things we were able to do wasn't really, it was beyond most people's imagination. But I know we can push further than that. But one of the problem we had was that the Nigeria system have so much impoverished the masses that we find it very difficult to carry the very, very downtrodden ones together in the movement. That was one of our weak points. What I'm trying to explain here is that there are so many persons that are so blindfolded with this religion and tribalism that the message did not really sink in so much. So for the time being, for the next 3 years before the 2027 election comes up, I don't know if it is possible for the obedient movement to come up with another structure where we can go down to the grassroots, especially the marketplaces, all these women organizations, youth organizations, schools, where we can start educating these people again. We need to open up this information to them so that they will know that what is going on currently now is a state capture by a few who key into what has been going on from 1950, 1960. They just key into what what these politicians were using to manipulate the system, and they utilize it to come back again to capture the system now, fully now. But we can still get what we intend to achieve by going back again to the grassroots. We need to conscientize these people, because if another election comes up now, if election is going on in Borno State, going up in Sokoto, going on in Cross River, you and I will not be there to monitor what is going on. So we need to mass produce ourselves, so that in every nook and cranny of Nigeria, we have people who share the same values, who think the same way we think. We can get such people in different corners of the country. I believe it will be easier for us to achieve what we intend to achieve. So there is need, if possible, to spring up a structure that will go down again to pass this information to people. Because there are people who are there, yes, they are suffering, yeah, but they still need to understand what we are doing as a movement. And this message has not really permeated into those inner villages. I know the extent we went to. Yes, I saw pictures. Of course, I followed the entire train. But there are some inner places that we have really not penetrated. And there are some places, especially in the north, that we've really not penetrated so much. Because we really need to understand, we need to pass this information to them. Once they come up, even if it's 50% of our knowledge of what we have about Nigeria now, I'm telling you, the mission will almost be achieved easily.
Yeah, okay. So Adugo, let me just interrupt you quickly to say, so the essence now, it's not even about the messaging, because first of all, if free, fair, credible election had been allowed, you could easily have seen the results come out, right? So there is a deliberate rigging of what's happening. All of these people, by the time you talk to them and they now want to go and vote, and they use police to drive them away, what's going to happen? Because, you know, that's one of the things that people kept saying, oh, you've not reached here, you've not reached here. Messages actually went round. There were a lot of people.
I understand this point you are bringing up now. Yeah. I know if we had done this, maybe probably before 2023, before that February 23 election, we definitely would have been able to hold down most of these polling unit officers or returning officers to make sure they deploy results in each polling unit. And we have our own results that we forward to the Center Secretariat, which of course they can take to court to be able to, because one of their points was that we came to court, we don't have evidence of Form EC88 from the 170 polling units, which we know it's very difficult. Of course, the INEC, which is the referee, is supposed to provide the original copies, but they will not bring it out. They expect you to go to the field to provide the 176,000 polling units, which I remember then, I was bringing this issue to this is our spokesman. I was telling him in our WhatsApp page then in UK, I keep telling him that, do we have 176 polling unit officers? Because I know that these guys will never release that original document. I was telling him then that, look, I'll bring it up on the WhatsApp page and say, yes, we should, don't worry. Well, you know, when it came up, and then these guys, they will always give you 1,001 reason not to give you.
Exactly. Adugo, let me just quickly come in. I'll bring in Emmanuel to also have his say on this particular issue that you've brought up. Yeah, but the thing also is this. Let me just quickly is this. Look, the courts, there is a judicial capture.
Yes.
The courts decide what they want to take as evidence or not evidence. You don't need evidence from the whole 170-something polling units. You need evidence for places that, you know, this is where we had problem. There are some places, and I can tell you categorically, Labour were not disputing those facts, like election in Kano. There's no, why would even go and be bringing the result sheets from Kano? There's no, you knew where it went to. There are places where you knew, yes, these places were nowhere, but there are states where you knew they were won. These things were on IREF directly where you had people, where results were being, they used TPEX to upload it. Now, and I think Emmanuel did mention that fact where he talked about the fact that, look, now we have different judgments for the same election. Where one, they say, okay, forgery, some people have left because of forgery. Some people have been brought in because of pre-election matter or something that was related to this. But meanwhile, in the presidential, this thing, it was done differently. There is going to be a crisis in the judiciary in the next few days because there are different judgments on depending on what they want to do. So you see where they focus on telling you that, oh, the what you call it, constitution is a living document. You can't do it in this way or this way when it came to forfeiture. And then when it comes to another thing, Abuja 25%, whatever, then they will not tell you this is that. So it shows a judiciary that is already biased. And with a judiciary that is biased, no matter what evidence you bring, they are the ones that will tell you what evidence is admissible in the court or is not admissible in the court. So that's one big issue. So I will give you a moment to round up and then we'll bring in Emmanuel.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. Definitely, the entire structure has been captured already. But then, where we find ourselves now, we have to be strategic to be able to collect this thing back from these people.
Okay.
And if we must be strategic, then we must start from the grassroots.
Okay. We
must start from that polling unit point. Even though we know that whatever we bring forth now, they will determine whatever they will accept in the court. But there comes a point that there's you can come to a point where you provide overwhelming evidence that you have videos of each unit, the number of people that were registered. Even if it is 150,000 alone, the 150,000 units alone that you provide, of course, then it will be overwhelming that you show it to the entire world. So then, by that time, pressure will be on them. I definitely believe that they will be forced to leave that place. But because the work is harder for us now, it's going to be much, much difficult for us now to be able to collect this power again from them. So we must still go back again to those polling. We must go back to the grassroots. If we can't convince these guys from the grassroots, it will be difficult to fight at the upper level, because at that level, they've all aggregated together to promote their cause, which is stealing the resources of the country, impoverishing the country. They already have a mindset. So at that top level, we can't get them. We must go down to the grassroots where we'll be able to convince people, and then they will join us. Once they know that, oh, this is what these people are fighting for, they are fighting for us, then they will be able to represent us in those primaries at that grassroots state. And it will be easy for us to be able to execute this thing.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Adugo, Kristen. I think at this moment I'll bring in Sid Chu. That's the way your name it's there. So do you agree with the fact that it's about the grassroots, looking at the fact that no matter how much the grassroots believe, they want to do it, they want to be polling unit agents and all of that, the moment they bring in guns and begin to shoot, people have to leave? Or the moment they decide to change the result, or already people, it's a big issue. So go ahead.
I have a different view from Adugo, and I thank him for the efforts he and his guys put in the obedient movement, However, elections are not just one route about messaging. The message was very clear to Nigerians. I think if you put your ears on the ground, Nigerians heard the messaging very clearly. And elections, the three gladiators, I would say, all right, they had their strong points in terms of their base. They had their base. And the elections, people use all manner of things. There will be tribalism, there will be religion, because to be true, the truth must be said, Nigeria is cut across those two lines. Those two fault lines have always been in Nigeria: religion and tribalism. Those factors will always be trumped up. So I know when people lose election, people begin to ask, oh, why do we didn't penetrate here, it didn't penetrate here. That was not the issue. The issue was very simple. A few select people hijacked INEC, period. And they knew that when it comes to judiciary, they also hijacked the judiciary. And that's why we're going to have conflicting judgments. The judgment of Kanu, they say, okay, the current Kanu governor is not even a member of NNPP. How? Somebody that is neck deep in the Kwankwasia movement. So it's funny because they already have a plan of what they need to do. So Nigerians voted, and or maybe we didn't have enough, or obedience didn't have enough people. First of all, I think sometimes we don't understand the way Nigerian elections go. And that's why I said we must do strong advocacy on our electoral laws. There are two things that happened in this election, and a lot of people never knew about it, but by the time they knew about it, it was late. First and foremost, in the polling unit, there are three people. First, the first result that INEC must certify is the one from the polling unit. So INEC gets it from ECA. The police has a copy of that. And then the political parties. When you go to court, the one that the court needs to see first, based on hierarchy, is the INEC CTC. If the INEC CTC is not there, the next one is the police. If you don't have access to those two, then you present your polling unit result. That's how it works. And so, I believe the legal practitioners of the OB people wanted to use a system in which, if INEC is saying this is their CTC, then the onus is on them to say, this result you have called, how did you call it? Because if your CTC, which is the first thing that we get, is saying no result, then how did you call the result? Secondly, I will admit with Adugo, the two results, polling unit results by the political party must have been put side to side with the INEC results so that it creates no avenue for them to escape. But already the judiciary was working from the place of an answer to the question. So they were coming from an answer to the question. So they already knew what they wanted, and then they worked their way back. So we don't want to go there. What I want to look at is Nigerians have been deceived by what is called INEC guidelines. But this election has told us that INEC guideline is useless. Don't trust it. Because what you have in the INEC guideline is the discretion of INEC. So in the INEC, in the Nigerian electoral laws, it tells us that INEC has discretion in terms of electronic transmission and how they intend to do it. That is the loophole. So it now gave the court the honors to say it is not mandatory for INEC to use the IREV. It's not. And a lot of Nigeria...
Sorry for just coming in now to say, is there no judgment where INEC was held to its guideline?
Yes, there is
a judgment like that.
Yes.
They have a discretion, but the moment they choose, then they must go by what they have chosen.
Yes, the dancing senator's judgment. All right. What's his state?
Adeleke.
Yeah. So that judgment is very clear. But like I said, the judiciary was trying to find ways to just tell us and buff us up, But what I'm just trying to say, yes, they've done that. But we need to now start saying, okay, that's what they want to do. That's fine. Let's go back to that electoral law and make sure that it's no more discretional. It's now mandatory. That word has to be in play.
Yeah.
See, for me is, okay, this has happened. all right? They've stolen, somebody has come, he has stolen from your house. That's fine. But you now have to put CCTV. You have to put everything. You can't say, oh, you know what? Okay, every December they always steal from my
You
house.
can't say that you no longer buy expensive something because you stole it.
Because
Or
they've stolen it.
But you can't blame yourself.
Your job is to say, how do we go and get CCTV and monitor it properly so that we can give us a fighting chance? And the way to do it is political revolution, which has already started. Nigeria, as of 18 months ago, is politically wiser. Young people are politically aware. Now we need to move. For me, if I was to advise Labour and Peter Obi and his team, is to say, okay, the only opposition we have is the obedience. PDP is struggling. There's a gap in that space. So how do you make sure that you occupy that opposition space and run opposition differently? That's what they need to think about. Secondly, how do you mobilize your base? I'll give you an example. You see Donald Trump, he faces all sorts of things, all right, from the Democratic Party and all that, going through the court system. But one thing Donald Trump does not lose is his base. He knows he has 50% of his base ready to follow him into elections in 2024. He knows that. So whether Peter Obi likes it or not, he has a political base. It's just like when Kwakwaso is talking, Kwakwasia movement is his base. Politicians cannot go outside their base. So the onus is on Peter Obi to say, okay, my base is obedient. They don't have party. They are very flexible. They are mobile. They are agile people. And they are not necessarily members of a political party. Their political party is Nigeria. I need to make sure that that base is strong. I need to begin to articulate my policy. Now, the obedient must also realize it's good to be on the periphery. It's good to be on the fringes. It's exciting. But we need to move into that political party and create reforms within that political party so that Peter Obi can call his senators and tell them, this is what my base is saying. And the senators will realize that that base is strong enough to vote who they want to vote within the party. A lot of people don't understand delegate voting. So we need to create real reforms in the Labour Party and ensure that the obedient occupy the Labour Party and make that Labour Party become formidable. There's no Peter Obi without the obedience. Simple and short. So whoever, that's one of the advocates they will do. And then from there, we begin to advocate to our senators and say, you can stand alone. You can stand in the Senate and say, I refuse this. Everything is about optics. Politics is about optics. If a senator, a Nigerian senator, a Labour Party senator say, my party does not believe in this policy, even if there are 5, but Nigerians are seeing that this is the policy direction. I'm telling you, don't worry. Before you know, people will begin to say, these people are the only people thinking there. These people are the only people thinking there. The political pressure, the advocacy pressure, government doesn't like trouble. Government is looking for money. Government is going to check investors. Investors are reading the signals and seeing that the signals from this government does not give them massive confidence. So government will find ways to come to common ground because you need to activate your policies and make sure that they are okay for even investors or whatever you want to come into government. If government bring a policy, Peter Obi and his team should be able to say, this policy direction does not go well for us. You punch it. So opposition, they must give a new way of opposition. And before you know, what will happen is that when mounting pressures, economic pressures are mounting on the people, pressures are coming into the Senate, then you can now start pushing those laws to be changed so that you have a fighting chance in 2027. If we don't do it, we will come to this same point again, and it will be worse because the instrumentality of state is in the power of the ruling party. And people, Nigerians love life. We don't want trouble, and that's why they know that. And so we push back, we go back and allow them to run. So we don't want that situation. So there's vacuum now in the Nigerian political space. PDP doesn't know what to do. Atiku is in a conundrum. Does he contest? Does he not contest? Where is his position? Peter Obi needs to also think, say, if I'm not coming in as opposition, I need to now build a strong, agile party for the 21st century. And for me, that's one of the things I just wanted to put across.
Thank you so much, Sid. And let me just read a comment from here where they said, this man is making sense. It's making so much sense. And I think that's the sentiment all over here. I could just listen to you go on. And these are just the basic conversation. And part of the things is that, look, yes, people are talking about Labour Party. And I think some of the issues that were brought up in the chat going on YouTube, you actually did address them, where people are talking about Labour Party. We can't change Labour Party from the outside. We want a better party, we want a better Labour Party, then people have to go in. If you have 2 million people registered in Labour Party, it will do a lot. It will foster reforms that is going on. It will for that leadership that we are talking about from who is the chairman, who is the state, whatever, who are the people. Delegates are from parties. They're not going to choose from the obedient movement to go and be delegates, and delegates are the ones who actually choose the people that will represent the party that will become the flag bearers. So it's very important for citizens to understand that, look, this whole thing, we all need to put our hands together. We all need to do it. It's going to take a lot of work. And that's one of the things I like about Mr. Peter Obi, the way he's going on. He's not jaded. He's not feeling depressed or down or whatever. Like he always said, even before the Supreme Court judgment, I said, look, this thing, it's a long time. It's long term. It's not something that you just do and get answers and move on. And for people, when people feel tired, when people feel angry, remember, there's someone who did this. He put in his money, his emotions, his everything invested. He put his life on the line, everything. At the end of the day, no matter how bad we feel, he also still feel bad, and he's going on. So we must also look for that way of going on, and not to just say, oh, we are no longer doing this thing. That Labour Party has to come to show what it is, but you also have to be there for it to be able to show what it is. For those who are on YouTube, please check the pinned message. You will see how to join the Zoom, how to register and be part of the conversation. And of course, if you register one, you can keep on using that link to always join. 6 p.m. Live with Aisha will be coming up by the grace of God, 6 p.m. Nigerian time every Saturday. We'll do like 2 hours, 2-3 hours, but mostly 2 hours, and we'll be able to move on, really discussing topical issues, political issue of governance, and how do we get to move our country forward. Nation building is very expensive. Nation building is very time consuming. Nation building will take everybody, and nation building needs practically committed people who are going to stay on and not be able to move away. I see Emmanuel has his hands up, so go ahead, Emmanuel.
Thank you once again. I just want to bring something in here. During this election, I remember vividly well when I booked my ticket, and I actually came. 90% of the reason why I came to Nigeria was to vote. And it took more than 20 hours flying to achieve that. I know a situation like this may arise, but the points I want us to achieve is what we actually achieve, whereby we can collectively make a statement. And I think we can give that credit to the obedient family. We make that statement. In as much as they stole a lot of votes, they couldn't still we still have more than 6 point something million, if I'm right, that was allocated to Peter Obi. So it means that we made that statement. There's a limit to what they can steal. And we have made that statement. We've made our present known. How do we build from there? Which was what the last speaker actually said a lot about. We need to build from there. We don't have to keep quiet now. Now is not the time for us to keep quiet. We all know that Atiku will just go somewhere, will disappear. Probably once the election is getting closer, it will resurface again if it's alive. We don't have to do that. That's why most of the time I'm always happy when I see Peter Obi being invited and he talk about issues. He's still relevant. He's even giving more accolades than even our sitting representative in the legislative and in the presidential seat. It goes a long way to let people know the people's mandate and who the people have chosen. I see a situation whereby, just like what happened in 1993, there is a limit to what politicians can steal. There's a limit to what they can steal. I remember my sister was telling me then that I was calling her on the phone. I was in front, they just put me in front and they said, this one is Yoruba. It's because I'm a Yoruba man. He's a Yoruba person. Stay in front. And I was like, Yoruba. And I stayed in front. I went there and I put my thumbprint where I want to put it. And I left. And I was calling my sister, please come out and vote for Peter Obi. And she was like, I said, your PVC is here. Your name is here. All you need is to just come out and vote. And she felt so reluctant to do that.
Yeah.
Guess what? Now she can easily call me from Nigeria. I'm in Canada. That, things are a little bit difficult. Please, we need to do this. We need to do that. And I will remind her that, do you remember when I was telling you to come out and vote? Because I realized that whatsoever happened in Nigeria, there's no escape route for all of us that are even in diaspora. Because I can tell you for free that the number of dependents right now on my queue has increased and it's choking me. Yeah. And you will hear the level at which they are in dire need of all this assistance, and you can't take your face off it. You cannot deny them because these are life-threatening, these are poverty-driven, and these are real issues that you just have to come in and it's affecting you. So what I'm trying to say is that we still have a lot of obedient people that are just obedient. They are not committed to that level yet. We need to drive them out. And they need to understand that one person cannot do it alone. We all need ourselves. And also, it's important for those that are undecisive. We are seeing them on the YouTube now coming out and crying. And, like some of the short videos that you've done, crying and lamenting that they would have left the Igbo man and instead of doing this Emiloko thing. But the truth is, if they are going to go religious routes or tribal routes, then we should go there with them. We need to start making our religion leader to talk. Gone are those days where they don't want to get involved in partisan politics. Everybody is in this politics because we are all going to be affected. So don't let any government or any politician, or because you don't want to be. That's why I give so much credit to those pastors that came out to talk and hear their view. Nothing happened to them. It didn't decrease their church member, and their building is still standing. We need more of these people to come outside and also talk. We can't keep quiet. Nigeria is at a point where we are on drip right now. This is not the point to just leave it to, and we are not giant of anything anymore. We are not giant of anything anymore. This is the time where everybody have to be involved. Everybody have to be involved. And I'm still planning to come. If they call for election in Nigeria, I will still come. If I have to borrow the money, I will come. That is the level at which I have made up my mind to be involved in this thing. So we need to look at those people that are obedient but are not involved. We also need to look at those people that are still in between. They don't want to be here, they don't want to be there. This is a call to save our country, Nigeria. It's not a call to save a religion, a group, or to save an ethnic group. It is a call to save our country, Nigeria. No matter what we think, for those of us that are abroad, we all know that no matter how, there's no place like home. There's a different feeling when you are in Nigeria. There's a different feeling. You can't take it away from you. That is who you are. That is your identity. And you cannot dissociate yourself from that. So we need to look at that. We need to stay relevant. We need to have a common cause, just like the last speaker said. We need to look at how to build on where we're at. We need to build where we are and grow. And let our people know that delay is not denial, just like Davido said. Delay is not denial. They can delay it, but the voice of the people will always supersede any other person. And we must drive home that point. No matter what we do or what they do, we must drive home that point. So everybody has to be involved. We need to work on that, build on where we are, and make sure that we don't just disappear, just like you are trying to. That's why I appreciate so much what you are doing, because you are making the movement relevant. And that is what we need. That is what we need. So please, that's the point I want to add, whereby we need to look at how we can sustain the movement we started, how we can build on it, how we don't have to lose hope, how we have to encourage our people to make them understand that, yes, this may have happened, but it's not denial. We will still get there. Encourage them, just like you've always done, and see how we move on from there. That's my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. I think you guys are really making the conversation rich and bringing in life experiences, and for us all to all learn from. I think one of the conversations that has been going on the Nigerian Twitter space is about this black tax, following what Mikel Obi had said about, family members who feel entitled the moment one makes money. And I always say, especially for those Nigerians in diaspora, whoosh, you people are the one that are really feeling it, because you have to put in so much work. You don't have time for yourselves. You're putting in a lot of shifts and stuff like that. And then people are just sitting back home and they just be asking. You send somebody $500, the person will be asking, is it only $500 you can send? If you send $100, the person will even cost you on top, and meanwhile, you know what you have to, how many hours you have to work to get all of that done with the bills that need to be paid. And one of the reasons also why people really don't take elections serious is that they don't understand the relationship between governance and their lives. And when there's any issue, they usually don't go back to government, they come back to their fellow citizens. So fellow citizens are the ones who are now acting as stopgap for what government is actually supposed to do. And these have really been issues that have been a real big problem for even the nation as a whole, because people just feel that, oh, why would I go and vote? It doesn't matter now, because if I need anything, I will call my brother, I will call my sister here, I will call this one there, I will call that one there, with a whole lot of entitlement. There has to be deliberate tough love that citizens must begin to put out. For me, honestly, you sell your votes or you do this anyhow, I'm not interested. You're going to eat whatever you sow. You sold your votes for 40,000 naira. You're going to use that 40,000 naira for the next 4 years. If you come to me, I will send you back to the people in office, because this whole enabling, at the end of the day, it's killing all of us, except there's, a life and death kind of situation. Every other one, let people just know that there is that relationship between governance and their lives, and the government is supposed to do so many things. Government will share 15,000 naira for people. You see citizens will be clapping, they'll be praising the government, 15,000. But you, as an individual, you give 50,000 naira to somebody, the person will be hissy. Oh, is it only 50,000 that they can give me? But meanwhile, you're busy clapping for government that is giving 10,000 naira or 15,000 naira. So it's this sense of entitlement that really something really needs to be done about it. Still coming back to the issue of joining party. Yes, there are. It's for some, it needs to be like a duty that we owe our nation to join this political party. Look at that Labour Party and see how we can revamp it, how we can regrow it, how it can be the party that it's supposed to be. And let's not also forget that there are elections that are coming up beyond state gubernatorial elections, beyond executive position. There are legislative arm of government, and you heard what Sid Chu did talk about, which is the fact that, look, if we want to actually begin to change the system, we need to focus on advocacy and pressure in ensuring that we get a new electoral act that explicitly states certain things in the law. And for us to be able to get that, we need the National Assembly. We need the people that are going to be there to be the ones that would demand for these things to be done and actually do it. And the National Assembly can pass law without the president. That's one thing on ground. So they need to feel that base that he talked about, where citizens are able to look at people and say, look, if you like, we'll do anyhow. If you come, when it comes to you, your Senate or your House of Rep membership, you will not get it if you don't do the right thing that you're supposed to do now. Also, in the meantime, there are by-elections that are coming up. There are places where either elections have been nullified, or one thing or the other cancelled, or someone has died, or something. There are by-elections that are coming up. There are people who are running to be Senate or House of Rep member or state houses of assembly members. Anytime this come up, please, let's put in the effort the way we put in that effort as if it was presidential election, and actually help these people to win election. One of the biggest problems we have is money. And until and unless we are able to solve the issue of money, I tell you, most people that are ready to serve Nigeria will not be able to get into office, except for a few who have been able to make money, like Mr. Peter Obi. He had his own money. Without his own money, forget about it. He would not have gone anywhere on this election. I can categorically tell you that. And I see, for example, and when we are talking about this money, it's not that money to buy vote. No, genuine campaign expenses. They are very, it's unbelievable. If you talk about, okay, for example, like at the presidential level, you're talking about 170,000 polling units. If you're going to pay them 10,000 naira per diem for them to use for feeding and whatever when they're there, right? That's about 1.7 billion naira alone on polling units. If you're going to pay them 20,000 naira, you're talking about 3.4 billion naira. And some parties, it's even your 10,000, they are laughing at it. Some people are doing 50,000 or whatever. So those ones are already out of this. So imagine what it is you're going to do. And when you call, even like gubernatorial election, you're looking for like maybe somebody has to put down like 3 to 4 billion naira to run for office. Honestly, I'm a businesswoman. There is no how I'm going to put down 3.something billion to go and serve anybody. So what's happen? I'm going to serve, then I'm using my money. So definitely that's why most people, when they get in there, they are going to look for how they will not start packing money and take it away. Except if you have like really, there are people in Nigeria who 10 billion naira is nothing to them. 15 billion naira is nothing to them. They can bring it out and use it. Not everybody. So we must find a way that we're able to mitigate that. Otherwise, people who have looted our commonwealth will continue to perpetuate themselves in office, or their stooges. And we've already seen how they're already perpetuating their stooges in office. You saw what happened in Kogi State, where the certificate of return was given to the so-called governor-elect, and then he will go and kneel down before the present governor, and then, I don't get it. And then you saw again in Imo State where I think they said there's a deputy governor, a lady she and her husband, the husband is a son, senior advocate of Nigeria, and they all both went there to go and kneel down. So, if my husband come and say, may I go kneel down for, well, light, they go sack him, go get that thing. If not me, you understand, this kneeling down is something that they do in private. They always talk about it. I've seen people when they are I'm just looking at them like, what? And then now they've made it's not a public thing. There's no shame. You're not going to be kneeling down for what? For you to serve. Service is such a burden. Anybody that is really talking about service, such a burden that you are not happy. Talk less of kneeling down and all of that. So we must look for a way to also get, when it comes to finances, what are the ways so that you have people that can go in there knowing fully well that it was the people that sent them there. They don't need to amass so much, so they don't need to be doing some corrupt things to be able to keep money aside for the next election, and they can just serve the people. We need to have that done. On the issue of violence, so far I've not seen anybody talking about that violence. Violence is really a major issue, and we need to find a way of mitigating violence. What are we going to do? Are we going to start talking to the Agberos around our whatever? Because these people are part and parcel of us. They suffer the same way we suffer. Every other person suffers. They are not buying bread cheaper. They are not buying gari cheaper. They are all suffering. So is there a way to begin to get them to have an understanding that, look, politicians use you once every 4 years or once in whatever, when there's election, but then at the end of the day, they leave you alone, and then you're all suffering with every other person. And so how do we get that? Is there a situation whereby when people are paid to do violence, you find a way to pay them not to do violence, whatever it is that needs to happen? Those are also conversations that we really need to have. We really need to have, because at the end of the day, with violence is really a major issue. On the issue of rigging, changing of results and all of that, it's also to say, what are we going to do to mitigate that? And I think that's why we refer to, I think, was it Adugo that was talking about that grassroots and all of that, is to say, if we are able to have more people appear and stand, because the more people turn out there is, the more difficult it is for rigging to actually happen. Although now that they have perfected the rigging at the top, because they don't do the rigging at the ground again, they are doing the rigging at the top, and that's where the issue of changing that law is coming in to have these things prevented within the act in itself. So if you're having a lot more people coming out and standing their ground and say, look, this is what we voted for, this is what we counted, this is what we want to see happen, that in its own way we help to go on a long way. These are some of the issues that we continuously have to talk about. It's not a one-day thing. It's not, oh, we do it now, it's over. And for people that always say, oh, whatever you're doing, forget about it, it's only, I'm like, fine, can you be planning revolution while we're planning something? For example, now, we put him on the part of advocacy and making demands. Oh yeah, we are doing that. Somebody else is working on revolution. No wahala. Be doing that. Another person is working on grassroots engagement with people. No wahala. We are plenty. We can all multitask. Let's all multitask and get all of these things going. What we will not allow is just to say, oh, we no longer do anything, we'll give up, and these people will have the power that they are not supposed to have. If there's one thing I'm going to say categorically, is the fact that the Nigerian politicians since 1999, in the 24 years of our democracy, they've never been shaking the way they were shaking in 2023 with the 2023 election. And this is the first time that people really deliberately decided to say, we will participate in this election, we will do it. And we came out to see all those strategies that we thought they didn't have anything. All those things that they say, oh, they are the ones that know politics, they don't know anything. The only thing they know is violence and rigging. And those are not the things that anybody wants to know. And for also people, I think one of the speakers did mention the fact that the 6 million votes that Mr. Peter Obi got, nobody gave Obedient Movement and Mr. Peter Obi himself that chance. Everybody felt that, oh, he can't get more than 1,000 votes. I saw a tweet where somebody said today, that conversation where people were saying that, oh, Kwankwaso will get more votes than Peter Obi, that it has died a natural death, because people have seen it. People didn't expect. They didn't expect the power of the people. If people come together, we can move mountains. The people can move parties. Power has only truly ever belonged to the people. No matter how other people steal that power, it's only temporary. And if you don't give up, no matter whatever they do, that power will always come back to the people. And that is the place where we are now. This is the part that, first of all, what we need to do is not even about battle on whether here there is that battle of the wills, battle on our mental capacity, battle on ourselves, to be able to say that we will stay on this. We're going to take this fight on, because the first thing that you need to conquer is yourself. And by the time you are able to work on yourself, believe in yourself, and continue to do this thing, before you know what's happening, it definitely we get going. If Buhari can stay for 12 years, trying to become president, only for him to come and give disastrous leadership, then we must stay on, no matter the years that it is, for us to be able to bring in someone that can actually give good governance. And that on its own is it's something that can easily be done in Nigeria. And we all can do it by us coming together and putting this thing in. Good must be more tenacious than evil. If the people who continue to destroy Nigeria are not giving up, then the people who want Nigeria to work have no business giving up. We must continue on this thing until we get that country that works for everyone, where you don't need to take care of anybody's problem, because they won't even need you to take care of their problems. Hello, Ruben. Welcome to the conversation. We're talking about democracy and state capture, and the fact that is it possible for there to be democracy in a place where we see with the level of state capture that we are seeing. We've seen judicial capture, legislative capture, media capture, and all of that. So please, yeah, if you could put on your video and unmute yourself, go ahead, the floor is yours. Hello, Ruben, can you hear me?
Okay, hello, Aisha. Sorry, I just wanted to add something to what I said initially. Then I also want to add to, yes, I accept the point that first of all we must start with the reformation of the Electoral Act. Yes, because the current state we are in this country, whether you like it or not, once you are not strong with the legislative, once you don't have a voice in that legislative arm, it will be difficult for you to push anything now. Yes, if it's possible, you guys that are closer up to people like Senator Irete and then this other guy from Anambra, is also what's his name again? The head of those senators and the head of Labour Party House of Rep. If you can have a section with them so that you push this point, when they are pushing for this Electoral Act reform as well, if it's possible to bring in this point of diaspora to have the right to vote, because we can't be contributing over 50% of what is coming from outside, and then you say we don't have say in electoral process of the country, determining who rules the country. At least they should push. Now we still have like three and a half years before the next election. If they start early, we'll be able to bring in that clause that will allow diaspora to be able to vote, because these are people who are out of the system. Most of them have seen, now they've gone out, they've seen how other democracy is being practiced in other countries. And so they are in a better position to be able to educate the other people who are back home. So if they can bring it in, it will also help us by 2027. So as we are approaching up there, we can do two-way approach: the upstream and the downstream. The downstream is where we go back to reinforce our back base, to make sure that by the time we set, because one thing that within 9 months we did a lot. I believe if we have to prepare more now for over 3 years, 4 years before the election, we should have a very strong base. So we have to go back to that grassroots again, get more person, just like the people you said, the people that they use to come and do some of this shooting, they are average rough guys that are within the society at times. It's just once in a while.
That are even known.
Exactly. Most people around the locality know them. At times, it's just once in a while that they have to move people maybe from one state to the other. Even if they move young men from one state, they are usually not much. It's just maybe few that will be leading the guys that will go for the demolition. That's just all. So we can still go back to that grassroots, get back to this. It is now that we can do it. Talk to some of these hard guys that smoke. And most of these guys, they reason well. They reason well, especially now that money is not coming from government to come and it's not flowing from government to the hand. You can go back this period within 2020, if that can be the project of 2024 for Obedience and Labour Party, going back to speak to some of these guys. Talk to them that, look, you see, 2023 is gone. The election is gone. Do you still see them? Just like the guy that had asthmatic problem. I was just smiling when I saw the thing. I said, look, just imagine what you are putting yourself through. But you didn't actually know the consequences of your choice you were making. Something you were buying less than 10,000. They were thinking that, oh, GSK, is it not our opener that own? They've gone. Look, the drugs you were buying less than 10,000. You're now buying over 50,000 naira. So we need to use this period to go down, to start talking to them at that grassroots level, as we also follow the upstream approach also to changing that legislation. That should be the point that maybe you and P2B and other members and the Labour Party chairman, call them. I believe they said they will be having, Labour Party said that time. I heard P2B or somebody saying that they will be having occasional quarterly meeting with the senators and House of Rep. I heard him mention it. So each time they should push them. They should start pushing. It should not be a PDP or the APC member that will push for this reformation. Let it be that by January or February, a Labour Party man stood up in the House and is pushing for electoral reform that diasporans must vote. Because that's where you will
I think they have started that already. I think I saw that in the news.
Good.
On the electoral, on the diaspora voting. I think there's a conversation around that already.
They should push it, make sure they sign it into law. Even at 2024, before that time, so that we'll be sure that, okay, we can mobilize people to register. At least you are sure that these guys, if you bring out a resounding person, even if it is not P2B or tomorrow it's a Dati or another person, at least you'll be able to, we'll be able to have a conversation that is meaningful. You can push, you can talk to people that will come out and support a reasonable person that will change the country. If we don't have that, it is going to be very, very difficult. So if we can get that, that would be so amazing. Okay. Then let's go back again. As I said, our base must be very, very strong. Once your base is very strong, it is difficult for people, even if you give those boys money to go and scatter. Once they collect that money and leave that place, they know you cannot come and hit them because you are the one holding the gun. You cannot come and collect the money back from them. So they just walk away, and then by the people around that locality will be able to stand their feet, and they will force the polling unit officer to do what they want them to do. And before you know, we will have the result that we want. So we really need to approach it from the grassroots and then from upstream elsewhere at that legislative level. Let's push and make sure we make these changes early enough. Let it not be 2026 or 2027 that we are pushing for these changes. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Adugo. Yeah, Emmanuel, go ahead. Sichu, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Adugo, for what you've said. What I want to say is that I'm not pessimistic, but we're dealing with a very strong, very, very wicked ruling party, all right, that will push back on most of these ideals. And secondly, is that most Nigerians do not even understand how the legislature works. Just like we didn't understand how party systems work. And I believe that is something that the Labour Party must, like I said, there's a massive space to begin to re-educate, reorientate the Nigerian citizen on what it involves with advocacy, what it involves with bills. Now there's the member bill, the bill that a member of a political party or caucus will present. But there's also a bill that a citizen can present either through his political group or through his membership. All right. So this is where we don't need to start waiting. For me, it's to tell the Labour Party, sit down, bring out think tanks, look at the laws critically, and then sponsor the bill. For some of us, it's also important that we also go and look at different bills, apart from political bills, different kinds of bills And you can actually sponsor a bill. You can sponsor a bill, but that is where the lobbying comes. So that's why we're saying the only group that can really do it is that Labour Party caucus. So, but Nigerians should start looking at their laws. Nigerians don't look at their laws. It's when it comes to political times, we start saying, oh, let's look at the laws. We start seeing drama. This is a time to really take a look at our laws and say, okay, this law, this kind of situation, maybe for the girl child, for different kinds of things, how do we sponsor this bill? What is the route that the Labour Party puts in play so that somebody like me can sponsor a bill to say these particular issues, can it be worded differently? Can it be addressed differently? And now, how does that Labour Party open up their structures in such a way that there is increase of their base? Is the how. So moving forward is, how does this thing happen? We're in a digital age. The battle of this election was very clear. It exposed a lot of things about Nigeria. It exposed the judiciary. It exposed the religious bodies. It exposed individuals. We saw everybody. Everybody was made naked on the market square. Everybody now knows who is who. So everybody has been disgraced. You have been exposed. So now it is, how do we maximize that space? And I keep saying, all our talk is good. We have weaponized poverty. These boys, in 4 years' time, you talk to them, by 4 years' time, somebody comes, gives them millions of money. We don't want, we need to go to that source. That, for me, at the end of the day, if nothing impacts the electoral laws, let's just forget it. To be honest, if nothing impacts the electoral law, because the Agboro boy that goes on the street, who enables him? Is the police. The police enables them. Because if we have a proper police system, that will not happen. They are stronger than Agboros. But the system has failed. And the person in charge currently, that is his modus operandi. So I still insist that there must be practical. I know it's not easy. Somebody thinking that to run elections will take a coalition. To run any election, even financially, it will take a coalition to really do it. Peter Obi alone cannot do it, or whoever is there cannot do it. So it is for, like Aisha that has maybe more interactions with most of the senior actors to say, look, we need to broaden this base. We need to bring in different kinds of think tanks, different smart people. There was a group I was sitting down with, and they were suggesting on, okay, this issue of, we go to the judiciary and judiciary says, show us your results. Do you have polling units of results? How can we be smarter? How can we go ahead of INEC? How can we tell INEC, you see what you're posting is not correct because this is the result? How can we match them and bomber to bomber? Because that's the same principle APC used when Buhari came into power. They were able to use the media to go head to head with what was happening in INEC. And the results were very clear. So there needs to be systems in place that says, okay, at least in your strong areas, your votes are secured. Peter Obi can't win everywhere. It's impossible.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not possible. So you need to, like, your strength is that your base. You must know where your strengths lie and ensure that even if you don't get so much, where your strength lies, you capture your vote. A lot of people did not pick up their cards, their voters' cards. This is a time to mobilize when the pressure is less. so that you go into that 2027 with at least a chance. And the truth is that if you mobilize your base, keep on the front line, you will notice that by 2027, you're already sure, and Tinubu knows this is his opposition. Whatever happens with PDP, you don't know. If Kwakwaso is strong, you don't know. So it will be very, very clear, distinct opposition. And everybody will find their space. We may even fall back to a two-party system. So that's my take is there must be realistic goals that can start happening so that we can avoid the issues that have raised, especially this electoral process. But finally, with respect to Kogi bowing down and all that thing, we've seen the issues of the River State already. Those things don't matter. When the person enters the seat and starts controlling the power, then we'll know whether he will bow down. So at the end of the day, let them start sitting down. And Fubara, he was not even talking. He didn't talk in the campaign. I never saw anywhere where seeing Fubara was campaigning. It was his father-in-the-law that was campaigning for him everywhere, talking everywhere. Well, as soon as Sim entered, you have heard his voice. He's now doing the talking. So those bowing down things are for the cameras. At the end of the day, when they enter in, no human being, even a small child, has a sense of ownership. Everybody wants to have their voice. You cannot suppress a voice for too long. That's just the truth.
Thank you so much, Sid. It's always a pleasure to just hear you take on these issues and just break them down. We will be rounding up. I think we have like 14 minutes left here. So I'm going to take on some comments that I see coming in from YouTube, from the chats that are going on. And there's this particular one that I just want to talk about because it's always this, people look at, how is that word pronounced? Is this cynicism? Being like cynics. Yeah, I'm always, so that pronunciation, I'm always finding it difficult to pronounce that word. And so a lot of people hide behind that. So this statement here says, Aisha, well done, you're doing great. But unfortunately, Nigeria is not a nation. We need an organic nation out of Nigeria now. For me and my family, it's Biafra forever and now. Okay, before then, there's another one. He said, if all of you are not ready to restructure Nigeria out of the foot of terrorist politicians, you will speak grammar forever with herdsmen grazing root and, with laughing emoji. So all of this come with laughing emoji. And so for me, this is the thing. Like I said before at the beginning of this whole conversation, there is no one way of doing something. There are different ways of doing it. If restructuring is the way to go, fine and good, fantastic. Let's have a restructuring. Nobody said that we must have one Nigeria. One Nigeria is not sacrosanct. Good governance, accountability, and transparency are the things that are sacrosanct. But I think one of the things that happen when people come at people and say, oh, you can't do this, this can't be done, you're wasting your time, is because they don't want to put in the work. And so by denigrating the effort that people are putting in, it makes them feel good. And then they can say, oh, the reason why I'm not doing anything because I know it can't work. So why don't you make it work? There are people who have made it to work against you. Why don't you make it work for yourself? Because to give up, the worst kind of defeat is self-defeat, where you already defeat yourself and feel that you are less and you can't do anything and you allow other people to do it. If restructuring is the way to go, fantastic. Can we get that restructuring? For how many years now people have been talking? We can have Oduduwa, Biafra, Arewa, South, Middle Belt. What's the other one? 6. We are 6 regions. We can just break into these 6 regions. If Nigeria wants to break into 36 countries, fantastic. If the UN is ready to accept everyone, let's all go. I would love to carry a visa and be visiting every other state that I used to. Then I'll not say, I've visited 30-something countries. You understand? So, but when we keep all of this, I know sometimes we hide behind this laughter, and sometimes we feel that, oh, it's a good thing, talk down on people and tell them that, oh, I can predict that this thing can't happen. I can predict that, oh, this election can't be won. You can always predict it's the easiest thing to do, to predict that something would work. But the hardest thing to do is actually put in the effort and make it work. If we have a nation where referendum is not allowed, our constitution starts with the indivisible, indissoluble. The only way that can be changed is through the legislative arm of government. You want to have Biafra, you must go through politics. When you want to have Oduduwa, you must do it through politics. You want to have Arewa, do it through politics. The people that we've sent to the National Assembly, the people that are the state houses of assembly, for them to be able to change the constitution, they will all need to come together. And if every one of them decide to say, look, let's break this country into 6 places and let everybody, so that regions can divide on their own. If we want to have a loose federation, just like what they have in the UK, we can have all these other different regions. They are doing their own thing. They're controlling their own government and all of that, come together, then that be done. But if you have not made the one that you want it to happen, and then you're laughing at people who are trying to make other things that they want to happen, it's foolishness. It's absolute foolishness. Because you haven't done nothing. If otherwise, do it so that we can learn from you. I'm always ready to learn. I'm always ready to meet people and say, what are you doing right? I will copy what is working. But if you aren't doing anything, and for those who feel that violence, there are some people who will never go the violent way. I would never. It doesn't make sense. It's very easy to carry arms and kill and maim and shoot. That's the most cowardly way of doing it. I would rather fall that system, let it work. And yes, if you don't want it to work, fine. If you feel it won't work, fine. There's another statement that's like, oh, this thing, it don't work, fine. But can you leave the people who believe it can work, let them do their work? Because giving up, it's not an option. Just sitting down and laughing, hey, I know this thing will not work. No, it just means that you don't believe in yourself. You don't think you can. You don't think you're one of them enough. We are citizens in this country, and no matter how hard it is, we work for it. There are some of us who once upon a time never thought that military will leave Nigeria. There are people who didn't believe. There are people who laughed and mocked at the people who were fighting for the democracy that we see. No matter how the democracy has become today, people fought for it. There were times where it was just the military. They will just come out and bring out a decree, no constitution, no national assembly. Yes, there was judiciary, there was executive, and that's why the legislative arm is the bedrock of democracy. And when they took that away, there were people who refused to believe that democracy will not come back to Nigeria. They worked on it, and at the end of the day, they got it. And 24 years ago, they were able to make something happen. Yes, we have different kinds of capture today. It doesn't mean that if people don't work towards it, they will make things happen. There were so many people who said, oh, all of these things you're doing, you can't get up to 1 million votes, 4 people tweeting in a room, but it made a difference. So no matter what you do in life, do not self-defeat yourself. That's the worst kind of defeat that there is to have. At least do something. And if you don't want to do it, don't stand in the way of people who are doing it. Just stay aside. Just go drink your drink and tell yourself, and I just look at it, sometimes it's like you're trying to tell yourself and trying to make yourself believe that nothing can be done, so that everybody will join you and be able to say, oh, the reason why I didn't do anything is because I know that it will not happen. Hello, it's okay. Let the people who want to do it, do it. And if at any time you feel you don't want to do it, fantastic. It's a free entry, free exit kind of a thing. Let people do what they want to do, but do not stand in the way of people who believe they can. Thank you. Emmanuel, do you want to say something? I see.
Yes, quickly. So sorry. I wanted to talk a little bit about inclusiveness. I think that is also very important. Okay. We need to go down to the grassroots. I want to be part of the people that mobilize the grassroots and work in that capacity. But also, it's also important that inclusiveness, how do we make people feel included? How do we make them? There was a time I was trying to check the Labour Party websites, the membership. I think you can become a member from the website. And I discovered that it wasn't working. And I felt, we need to look into that and let people have a feel of belonging to a very good community. Then secondly, I would want us to also look at how we can make our representatives, both at the lower and the upper chambers, how we can always have a town hall meeting, a community town hall meeting. It also brings inclusiveness also. I think, when you have them in a town hall meeting where people can freely join, yes, we will have a lot of spies and people that want to come and just, that will form as if they are part of us. But I think it shows that we are serious-minded people, we are community-driven, we are people-oriented, and we really want that desired change. And we are bringing governance down to the people, so we can change the narrative also through that way. So that's another thing that came to my mind quickly as you close, just to put it in your mind. If it's something, because I'm not a politician, I just want something to work. I want us to do the right thing. I want the people to feel included. I want them to feel that they are being heard. They are being, whatever thing they are doing is not a waste. So I just want us to look into that direction as you wrap up this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. I think we're having a wrap up. Ruben, are you ready to speak?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So go ahead, please.
So sorry. The other time you were calling my name, I was actually trying to understand the whole thing because I'm not too conversant with Zoom.
Oh,
so that's the reason I've been having issues. Yeah.
Okay, so you have the floor.
Yes. So what I wanted to say is, first of all, I want to appreciate you for this platform that you created for us, Labour Party, the Obedience, to have a space to speak. I think is a global thing that everybody is watching, and I like the fact that some people are joining from outside the country. But there's one thing I actually want to mention, though time is not going to permit me to say so much, and it is one of the things you said before the other guy came in. I think they cited you or something. I can't really remember that name. So there was something he said about security, and which was one of the problems that we encountered during last election. Matter of fact, it was more evident during the gubernatorial election. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, so it was obvious during the gubernatorial election. I, for one, was part of the victims of that act. That some tout just came to the queue and told me, because I was looking, there's this way of categorizing people that are Yoruba and people that are not Yoruba now. If you look posh like you're rich, you're going to be seen as somebody, or maybe you're fair complexion, you're going to be seen as somebody who is not from the southwestern part of the country, which is Yoruba. And if you look tattered, you look like an insane person, a tout and all that, you'll be seen as a Yoruba. So I wasn't looking that way. And they came to the queue, that was during the gubernatorial election, and they told me to speak Yoruba, that if I'm not a Yoruba person, I should leave the queue. And that really got me annoyed. In a democratic dispensation, that's not supposed to be happening. So in terms of security, what I'm thinking actually is we need to devise a way. The police, army, soldiers, because they were there that day, that thing happened, they did nothing. They are not ready to protect anybody. And you know who we have as our head now, as their head. Don't let me say my head, because it's not my head. I didn't vote for him. And he's not sitting there as a legitimate president. I'm going to say that nothing is going to happen. So, the kind of things he can do. So we need to really work on the security part, because 2027 is not going to be funny, because now that things are getting worse, he is already understanding that people don't like him. Even people from the Southwest don't like him because of the effect of the economic hardship and all that they're facing. So some of them are actually coming to their senses, because when I go on the road sometime, when I'm going out, I hear what they say. Some people are actually swearing for him. Some people are laying curses on him. So, but what happened 2023 is going to be little compared to what is going to happen in 2027. Because he's going to try by all means to go for second term. And if we are going to be working, we need to double the security architecture. By doubling the security architecture, now I mean in our own sense, not relying on the federal or the state or whatever now, security architecture. We need to devise a way to protect ourselves and protect our votes. We must not act like a bicycle, just like maybe we were not like a bicycle the last time. Maybe we just thought that the government security architecture would work for us. We thought we were going to really have a change or something, but that didn't happen. So this time around, working towards 2027, we need to plan on how we can secure ourselves and secure our votes. So I think we need just like what the last speaker said, we need to have the town hall meeting. We need to start the planning now. Like I said, I don't have much time to speak. Maybe I will have to speak in the next meeting, which is next Saturday in a week's time. But I think that's part of what we need to do. We need to check our security. It's very, very important. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ruben. I think you really brought it exactly to the end of our conversation for today, 2 hours. And I must say to you, the point that you really laid out, it's really the most important we have to look at. We need to look at how do we mitigate that issue of violence against people who vote. That on its own, it's a very big issue that needs to be dealt with. If we make everything, every other thing, put every other thing in place, if that we don't get to that place where people are protected, where people feel safe enough to be able to come out to vote and go back home alive, then a good number of them are not going to come out. And we must ensure that no matter what happens, that we continue to do to stand and not give up. I know it's very difficult. It's very difficult, and it's okay for people who feel down. It's okay for people who feel depressed or angry. It's okay. Take a month, take 2 months. It might even take up to 6 months. Do it and get up. Just know that if you don't do anything, they will do more. If you stay and say, okay, I'm not going to fight, I'm not going to do anything, I'm not going to do anything towards having that good Nigeria because, oh, these people have taken over, it will only give them enabling environment, and it will give them the motivation for them to do worse things, and it can be worse than it is right now. And then at the end of the day, they will say you actually like it because you're silent and you're not doing anything back. One of the things I must say as we go on is the fact that the Southwest is known to be very vocal, and that we might not see like what happened in last administration, where whatever it was that Buhari did, there was silence from his region because, oh, this is our own. But so far we've seen that the Southwest isn't going that way. There are a lot of people who are speaking out on the things that are happening. It's really sad what we saw during the March 28 gubernatorial election. It's something that if we really were a country where we really want things to work, that was something that should have been a major conversation issue, even at the National Assembly, even within the judiciary, because what happened there was very, very heinous to the extent where people were picked at. And we're hearing from someone who faced that, being told to speak a language in your own country. I mean, if you go out to, say, tribe, if it was said, we'll be shouting racism in other places. But in our own country, being told to speak a particular language, otherwise you will not be allowed to vote. That's not something that should happen in a country where we want to grow. I'll end this finally by saying that many people say that Nigeria, we are not united. We are united. The poverty across Nigeria unites us. The bad governance across Nigeria unites us. The lack of good quality education across Nigeria unites us. The fact that access to good quality education is dependent on the economic status of one's family unites every one of us. The fact that there are so many potholes on our roads and people die of accidents that can be prevented if those roads were fixed unites every one of us. The hunger unites us. The lack of transparency, the lack of accountability, the lack of good governance unites every one of us. The fact that we have so many people who are dependent on us, and the little that we make, we have to constantly share it. At the end of the day, we are not growing and getting anywhere. It unites all of us. The fact that we have children on the streets who are not in school when they're supposed to be in school unites every one of us. The insecurity we have across Nigeria unites all of us. And at the end of the day, instead of us to focus on the little things that do not unite us, why don't we focus on these things that unite us? And then let's work together and solve them. At the end of the day, when we solve them and we have good governance, accountability, and transparency, we have development. We do not have any unemployment, because right now the unemployment across Nigeria unites us. When we don't have any of these bad things, then we can sit down and look at each other and say, bros, it be like say you be Christian, I be Muslim, or I be Christian, you be Muslim, or bros, it be like say I be Esak, or you be Igbo, or you be Edo, or you be whatever. But at this moment, we don't have any business focusing on those things when we have so much that is destroying us, that has united us. Thank you so much for listening. Hopefully 6 p.m. next week, Nigerian time, Saturday, we'll meet again. We'll have another conversation on what it is that will get Nigeria to the place that every one of us will be proud of. We must get to that place where we will not need to help anybody, because they shouldn't need our help. That's the country we all should be aiming for. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Those of you that join us here and those on YouTube, thank you so much. God bless you all. God bless all of us. Bye.